What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. I'm heading up to the shop today. Gonna take a look at the 240 and talk about what's next for it. Basically, this car is making enough power now that on a drag radial, it still can't get traction. So, especially on the shift, on the 1 to 2 shift, it's got no traction. But we can probably tune around that. But it's losing traction just under power as well in various situations and conditions. So traction has become a problem because we're just making too much power. This is a Mickey Thompson ET Street R. Is that right? Yes, Mickey Thompson ET Street R. 275 50/15. So it's a 26-inch tire. And that's it's not all I can fit on the car. I could fit a 28-inch tire on there, and that would make a big difference in traction. But they don't fit very well in this chassis on the S13. To make them fit, basically, they end up jacking the car up in the rear, and the car ends up with a big rake in it, and it just doesn't look great. They don't fit the size of the car very well. So I'm going to try to stay on a 26 as long as possible. And but with traction problems, you can't be having traction problems and not do anything about it. So what are you going to do other than put more tire on it? Well, we're going to try to put some traction control in the car. So I'm running a Megasquirt MS3 Pro Evo system, and it's got built-in traction control and a lot of other cool features. I've been real happy with the ECU so far. So I need to install everything necessary to make this car have traction control, so that whenever the ECU detects too much slip on the rear tire, it will pull some timing out, and then when the slip goes away, it'll put the timing back in. So I can just hammer down on the pedal, and whenever I get too much slip, it'll slow the car back down just a little bit until we get traction, then go back at it. Just keep the pedal down all the way. So that's how traction control works. Basically, that's what it is. So to make it work in a car, though, you have to have the right sensors. And we have a speed sensor, of course, telling the ECU how fast the car is moving, and basically telling the ECU how fast the drive shaft is moving coming out of the back of the transmission. But what we don't have to make it work yet is a sensor to tell the ECU what the front wheels, the non-driven wheels, are doing. So the non-driven wheel needs a speed sensor, and then we already have a driven wheel speed sensor through the drive shaft. So the ECU can then look at those two different sensors and say, okay, driven wheel is spinning super fast, but the non-driven wheel, the front wheel, is not spinning as fast. And that's how it knows what slip is. So when it sees that difference in speed, it says, okay, your rears must be slipping. So it pulls a little bit of timing to take care of that, and then it puts the timing back in when the slip goes away. So what we need in this car is a front wheel speed sensor. And these cars had ABS available, but basically almost none of them in America, North America, from what I can tell, actually got it. Or at least this one certainly didn't. So I'm going to try to put an ABS sensor in the front of this car and make it work, but finding the right parts to do it with OEM parts was kind of impossible. I couldn't find the front wheel hub with the tone ring on it, and I could really hardly not even find the front ABS sensor. It seems like I found a couple, and they were like insanely expensive, like hundreds and hundreds of dollars just for the front ABS sensor, which I thought was crazy. So we need an ABS sensor on one of the front wheels, and then we need the tone ring for the sensor to read off of. And we need to get all that installed and wired up into the MS3 Pro. So what I have to do that is, this right here is a tone ring that I ordered off of Amazon. And it is not for this car because, like I said, I couldn't find the tone ring for this car. So I just took a rough measurement of the hub while it was still on the car, and then I found a tone ring for a Nissan that was appeared to be about the right size. So we're just going to try that and see if I can install that on the hub or not. And then this is an ABS sensor that is for I forget now. It's for a Nissan Maxima, I think, or something. I have it written down or in my order history, but this is not the right ABS sensor for this car. But again, I just took a look at the mounting pad area on the front spindle, and it looked to be shaped about like this, and the distance looked to be about this long. So I did a whole lot of guessing on ordering parts here. So who knows if these parts are actually going to work or not, but that is the challenge here, is to get these installed on the car. and then get this wired into the Mega Squirt. It's just a 2-wire sensor. This is a magnetic, it's just a magnet right there, and then it reads every one of these little teeth. Every time a tooth passes that, it sends a pulse to the ECU, and the ECU says, the ECU interprets that as a speed reading. So that is the project, and that is the challenge. We're going to try to get traction control in the all 240 here, and that's going to be fun. So I'm going to get this car up on the lift now, and I think I'm going to try to install this on the right front wheel. The only reason I'm doing it on the right front instead of the left front is because the ECU is on the right front of the car over here, so it just makes for shorter wiring distances. So yeah, let's get her up in the air. All right, let's get this wheel off of here first. Okay, so I got the wheel off, and I want to show you guys what we're trying to achieve here. See if I can get a light up in there. So basically, this little pad right here, this little kind of, there we go. This little kind of an oval pad right here is where the ABS sensor is supposed to go on this car. So for an ABS equipped car, they would drill a hole here and a hole here, and the sensor would slide right in there. So we've got a non-ABS equipped car, so thankfully they've cast it there, they just haven't drilled it out, so we're gonna have to figure out how to drill that to the right diameter, and then drill and tap a spot here for a screw to go in. So that's the idea, is to put the sensor in right there, and then the tone ring presses onto the hub right back here. Right there on that little ridge or ledge right there is where that tone ring is supposed to press onto. So like I said earlier, we don't really know the diameter of that ledge, and I don't really know the diameter of the tone ring I bought, so that's the first test, is get this all taken apart and see if my tone ring is going to install on that hub correctly, or if I need to weld it, or if it's not going to work. So that'll be step number one, is get this apart and see if the tone ring will fit on there, or what that's going to take. And then the next step after that will be figure out how to get the sensor mounted in here. So that didn't take long, but I've already hit my first roadblock here. I got the brakes off the front here so I can actually reach back and measure. And I've used my calipers here to get a measurement on the hub where the tone ring should go. And that's approximately what it measures right there. And here's the tone ring that I bought. I got this thing off Amazon for like $7. And it is too small. So unfortunately, I don't even think I can have that machined out, because by the time they machined it out big enough, there wouldn't be any meat left. I think it would just fall apart. So that's a bummer, but I knew that could happen. This is something I've never done before, and I'm having trouble getting the right parts, so I just had to try a couple of things. So tone ring, unfortunately, looks like that is out of the picture. I need one that's just a little bit bigger, but as I was taking this apart, I was remembering that I converted this car to 5-lug front hubs, and I don't know what these hubs really come off of. I bought them aftermarket. I would assume these are probably S14 hubs, or they could be 300ZX based hubs. So the next thing I'm going to do is get online, do a little research, and see if I can find a tone ring for, I think an S14. I think I'll see if I can find a tone ring for an S14, see if that's even available, and see how much it costs, or maybe I'll get lucky and find some dimensions. But anyway, I'll update the video here and let you guys know something when I know more. Okay guys, so I think I'm actually going to cut the video off there and make this a 2-part video, or 3 parts, however long it needs to be. But it's getting kind of long, and I think it'd be a good idea just to chop it off here and get this one uploaded, and make this into a multi-part thing. So yep, anyway, stay tuned and give me a like or a thumbs up or subscribe, whatever you want to do. Ask questions down below and I'll get right back to you. But we'll be back to work on the car here just as soon as more parts come in. Thanks, guys. See ya.